There's something making noise in the background.
Is it bad or is it like a...
No. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. I've got all the things to remove background noise. I know if you...
No, I'll take care of all of that. I know what I'm... We both know what we're doing. I have a fan going off right now, and I don't care. Like, it's too hot to do an hour-long conversation without the fan on. Like, when I'm recording Wizard Scroll, it's different. It's a different story. I suffer for my craft. But this is, I'm trying to be as comfortable as possible.
Okay. And no, it's not bad enough to prevent recording.
Okay.
And so it'll be just fine. I'm just a perfectionist, of course. As are we all.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
My phone's
you gotta be when you're in this business.
My phone's on the floor, so the mute doesn't come up because the buzzing will come up through the microphone anyway. Although now I don't have the microphone screwed to the desk, so that's less likely to happen. Okay. Yeah. So
right.
Anyway, yeah, ready when you are. And
all right, yeah.
The levels seem pretty good as long as I'm not screaming or yelling.
Okay, I don't think we'll be doing any of that tonight.
Oh, you never know. I can get kind of loud.
Hello, Scotty.
Hello, Chris.
Yes. Okay. Before we get too deep into this, the first thing that we always do on Wizard Hang is I have a special game that I like to do to help us sync the audio later on.
All right.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you say a word, and I'm going to say a word, and we're going to go back and forth until we form a complete sentence together.
Okay.
So as the guest, I shall let you the privilege of saying the first word.
The word of the day is water.
Is
water. Or I'm thinking password. Water is wet.
When
splashed.
Upon
fish.
Okay. That should be more than enough. Welcome, Scotty, to the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you coming on. So why don't you introduce yourself and plug everything you need to plug and just tell us about yourself.
All right. Well, my name is Scott R. McKinley. I use the R since there's already someone who's a SAG actor whose name's Scott McKinley, believe it or not. I believe he's in his 70s. I've never seen anything he's been in, but my best wishes to him were he to listen to this. But everyone in the voice business who work in it anyway call me Scotty. And
yeah, the other Scott McKinley's a big fan, actually.
There you go.
I'm sure he's listening right now. He's like, oh man, I got shout out on Wizard Scroll Nights. It's awesome.
Oh, anyway, so Scott R. McKinley, I live in New Jersey, and I'm from New Jersey. How about that? Yes, I am a voice actor and an audiobook narrator. I also do some training consultation, and I'm taking active acting classes as to being an actor in front of camera as well. And so I have limitless things that I would like to do, including writing. So I've also been working on a script and for audio drama.
Oh, hell yeah.
And yeah. And it would be nice to write something historical, too. One of the biggest things that you'll hear about me, in addition to me talking to you to death about it, is that I do adore history as a subject. Everything is a story in history, you see. And that's everything that makes anything interesting worth listening to is a story. And you can have a history of just about any subject that you care to think of. And I like that. And it all connects with people at the very end of it. It's not science.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So what sort of, so you said you've done audio books, audio dramas, like you've done voice acting. You've been around. You've been around the block.
You've been around. Yeah, I've been around. Yeah.
You and I, we have the focus right. We both got that same thing. You and I, we are of the same breed almost.
Oh yeah, we've been around the block. We've been there, done that. So I've got 5 audiobooks to my credit. I did a couple of novels based on true crime incidents written by an author named Renee Winters. And Renee is spelled R-E-N-A instead of R-E-N-E. And she's also actually affiliated with Hollywood. She was part of the team that brought the Smurfs to the United States back in
Like
the
the
day.
original Smurfs, or like the CG reboot that they did in 2010s?
The original Smurfs, way
Oh,
back
shit.
in the day. Back in the 80s, was it? When the Smurfs were first popular here in the U.S.?
I don't know. That's a little before my era. I wouldn't know anything about that.
Well, anyway, when the blue people first showed up.
Yes, the Blue Man Group first arrived when they
there you
first
go.
came here.
Anyway, so those were fun for me to do and start with. And I've done, and I encourage people to go out and find the books. You can find it, Renee Winters, R-E-N-A Winters. And I've done a couple of books audiobooks on John Lennon and the Beatles, where I voiced John Lennon and the Beatles. And
do you have what's your impression? Do you have a good, what's your John Lennon voice sound like?
Well, it sounds pretty good. If you want just a little quick sample, I've been working on it, you see, over the weekend. And,
oh my God! Do you have John Lennon's ghost in your studio with you?
Well, it's actually how I got the job, you see.
Yes, quite, yes.
So I've always done I've always been a big Beatles fan, and when I was looking for auditions on books to do, audiobooks to do, and I was looking mostly for nonfiction or just something fun on Audible. So I go to the ACX site for that, and someone had posted that night had posted a audition for a book on John Lennon by one of his lawyers.
Wow.
Not the famous one where there's the legal status of John Lennon staying in New York. The famous one that had a movie about it and all that. This was a different one where John Lennon was actually being sued by a mobster, believe it or not, named Morris Levy. And the audition called for a passable, or if not passable, a good impersonation of John Lennon, because it involved a lot of the court transcript of the trial. And they wanted the listener to be able to easily hear the cross-questioning between the witnesses and John Lennon, who, basically was put on the stand. And he talked about how he made albums and how he crafted them. And this information had never really been written about before.
How serendipitous that this occurs, like the night that you decided to get into this.
Well, it wasn't the night I decided to get into it. I've been checking, but it was posted the night I remembered to look at like 2 a.m.
Wow. So you probably you were like one of the first guys to audition for this then.
And I thought, really? And it said only professionals need apply. If you don't have enough experience, don't even bother. And I'm like, geez,
right? You gotta have like at least a blue Yeti or better.
Oh no! I had a professional setup by this point.
Yeah,
with my XLR mic and all that. But it was like, I didn't know how good my was it a passable mimicry of John or an impression? I didn't know. I've just been doing it all my life as a Beatles fan, and I thought, this will probably be the last time I get to do an audition for a Beatles book. But, it's one of the things on my checklist, the bucket list of projects you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did it. And I heard back within about 6 hours, which basically just said, like, well, we're at the very beginning, and, but wow, don't go anywhere. Trust me, when we have a short list, you're on the short list. And
that's
I was
awesome.
just completely
just heard back right away.
Yeah, from the publisher. And so anyway, I got to meet the author and talk with him finally, and he's sort of become a good friend of mine. Jay Bergen is the name of the person.
That's great.
And,
so now you're in the door for any future books this guy writes as well.
That's true. Although he's a little older. But I'm hoping that he does. He's got chapters that weren't published as part of the book, and they're fascinating on their own. They just weren't part of the main line of the Lennon stuff, but they're still very interesting. And anyway, the name of the book and the audiobook was Lennon, the Mobster, and the Lawyer, and it's by Jay Bergen. And then that got me my next audiobook, which is another one. This one is just on John Lennon, but it's a book on John Lennon with the Beatles, so I got to do all the Beatles in that one.
All four of them in one place. That's crazy.
All four of them in one
place. You have all four ghosts inside of you at once.
Well, the author of that book, who is a good friend of mine, and still is, well, actually, Jay is too. But she's a really special kind of friend. Her name is Jude Sutherland Kessler, and she's written a series of books called the John Lennon series. She's projected them to be 9 altogether, and she's written now 6, I believe. Number 6 is coming out soon. But I did number 3, which was called She Loves You, and it's about the Beatles and John Lennon from 1963 to early 1964. Just a good starting point for an audiobook, and we are going to be doing the next one as well, called Should Have Known Better, and hopefully that'll be out next year. But that's neither here nor there, nor has it been announced, so maybe I shouldn't mention that. But it's no secret that I work constantly with her on different projects. She's so good of a writer, too. It makes it much easier,
right?
Because her books are rather long. The audiobook for She Loves You is 33 hours long to listen to.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
That's a long book.
It's a very long book.
To listen to. Wow.
It's more than a day in the life. As it were. And, well, she's also a bit demanding, so she wanted to make sure that I could do all the voices really well. So I did a fairly good Brian Epstein and George Martin, and even Cynthia Lennon, just to get the cadence right. She was very concerned about that, because that's a major character in the John Lennon story, is his first wife, who doesn't get enough attention these days.
I didn't even know he had I thought Yoko was his only wife. I didn't know there was a previous one.
No, Cynthia Lennon was his first wife. He married her in 1963, and they didn't divorce until 1967. That's when he had started off with Yoko Ono. And Julian Lennon is their child. And of course, Julian is still in the music business and just had an album out just last year.
Wow.
So he's Sean's half-brother.
I don't know. This is all stuff this is all news to me. Like, I'm just enraptured by your wealth of knowledge that you have. Like, I always knew the Beatles is they're probably the most famous band who have ever existed.
Yes.
And it's just a shame that they broke up when they did, right as they were getting into the really weird shit.
Well, actually they were over the weird shit. Abbey Road, which was the last album they recorded together, although that came out before Let It Be did, is a fairly straightforward, really good rock and roll album.
Okay, so a return to form right before, and then a couple weeks later, they just split up.
They split up within about a half a year, and the debris from that took years to sort out, as far as the lawsuits and all that kind of thing go.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, it didn't seem like they were the greatest band ever. They just were the most well-known band. And they had the most consistent set of really good songs. But in retrospect, just about everything else seems to come up short. It's just that at the time, we didn't realize it. So that these days, it's really fun to find young people who recognize a lot of the Beatles songs, especially the early stuff, which is, a lot more pop style than it is serious rock and roll. But then again, the music today is a little bit different. You don't really see bands that much any longer. It's mostly just single singers.
Right.
I think.
What are your thoughts? Did you ever listen to the Beatles recently? I don't know how recent, maybe a year ago or so. They came out with a song where they took a recording that John Lennon did in the 70s, and they used AI to enhance the sound quality of it and cut the piano out of it, and then Paul and Ringo basically recorded new they basically made a new song last year, even though 2 of the members were dead. They just took old recordings and AI enhanced it. And did you ever listen to that?
You really got a good understanding of it. I'm impressed for someone who doesn't as you said, know that much about the Beatles. You really got it pretty much straightforward. Keep in mind, the AI is used to separate
Yes.
the vocals from the background track and the noise.
Yes.
It wasn't used to create John Lennon's voice. It was already there. It was just hard to hear because there was a hiss and a feedback.
Yeah, it was like they like had like a whatever it was, like the 1970s era, like whatever recording it was. It probably wasn't an XLR mic that he was using. He probably had some like whatever.
It was on a tape recorder.
Exactly.
Now, by tape recorder, though, it was a $500 tape recorder. So it wasn't just one of those little like $5 ones that kids got back then. But yeah, it still lent a lot to be done. And I didn't like the song that much, to be honest with you. The I liked the fact of it. I did hear it a lot. I played it a lot. I have it. And but it's the chorus. You could tell that the dubbed-in voices for Ringo and for Paul, they do sound rather old. And it made the chorus, I thought, sound a little bit wobbly.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't strike a good note. Now, I thought the playing on it was great. You're right. They removed the original piano, and Paul did his own piano work on there, and I thought it was fantastic. I also thought Ringo's drumming on it sounded really good, too. They did use some of George Harrison's guitar.
Mm-hmm.
The lead guitar was done by Paul, and he did it in the style of George doing a slide guitar, and I thought that sounded good. And I thought the strings sounded good, too. John Lennon's voice isolated sounded perfect. So it's not a great song. It's a good song, but
it's miraculous that it exists. I'm glad that it exists, but I see what you mean. Like, it's not their best work.
Yeah.
But like, now, it's cool that that the technology has allowed that to come into being.
Absolutely right. And I would rather have it than not. I think we would all say that, the Beatle fans. Well, there's always stuff that we want to see released that hasn't been released. But we are normally happy to get when we get something. Although, there's still a few things that we're waiting for. And I'm hoping that the Star Club tapes, which was recorded back in 1962, into, I think, was it late 62 to 63? Well, anyway, a live recording before they became famous, where they played a lot of cover songs. And it was semi-released back in 1977, and then withdrawn after it got legally challenged.
Really?
Yeah, because at that time, the Beatles didn't own the recording. Someone else did. And but so it is them playing.
There's a recording of the Beatles before they're famous.
Yes. That
is just somewhere. It's in a safe somewhere, and it hasn't been released in 5 decades, is what you're saying.
Yes, that's right. It hasn't.
That is wild.
It hasn't been released since 1977. It was the last time when it showed up. So it's findable as a bootleg these days. I bought it when it came out, when it was still legally for sale. But it was obvious it was going to be in the gray market rather quickly after that, and it soon disappeared. And they sound good. The quality sucks, but better than
62,
you would think.
Like recording live,
recording live.
It's just like a bar somewhere, probably.
It's in a club, actually, a nightclub in Hamburg, Germany.
Mm.
And they were contractually obligated to play it. They were famous in England by that point. They weren't internationally famous.
Not worldwide yet, but they were getting there. They were stretching their tendrils a little bit.
And but they sound pretty good, and some of the cover versions sound great.
Do you still have that? Do you still have that tape somewhere, or is that like long gone?
Well, I have it on record, and yes, I still have that.
That's like a piece of history right there. That's awesome.
It is. Although, these days when you look back on it, you sometimes forget that, yes, those are really old relics from the time past, records, from the 1960s. That's a long time ago now. That's 60 years in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But they made millions of them. So the scarcity isn't really there, because there are so many copies out there of a lot of things that are just floating around in different collections and in people's basements and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on which. But it was certainly fun to listen to them, and I certainly got my money's worth out of that. But anyway, I really enjoyed doing the Beatle book with Jude Kessler, and I'm looking forward to working on the next one. And I contribute to some of her other stuff when she does webinars, for instance. And I do go to the annual, or is it twice a year, Beatle Fests that the Fest for Beatles fans puts on. They have one in New York and one in Chicago, and I've been to both of them over the last few years. And I'd been going to the one in New York, which is technically in New Jersey, or was back then, since 25 years.
Wow, so you're like a frequent visitor of this fest that they have.
Well, it's a wonderful convention. If you think about it like that, like, have you ever been to a science fiction convention or a place where you just gather celebrities and people, like Comic-Con, for instance?
I don't think I've ever been to anything like that. I feel like the closest I've been to anything of that sort would probably be Renfest. Like I went to the Broward County Ren Fair like a couple years back. There's a funny story about that actually.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever told this on the show either. So this is a good tale. You get the inside scoop.
Please do.
So at the time, like I was like, it was 2022, I think it was, and I went to the Ren Fair. And what I had decided to do was, hey, you know what? These are my people. They'll probably love the Wizard Scroll. I should advertise it somehow.
Yeah.
So what I did was I went to like my local Office Max or whatever. I had made a flyer. I had made a Wizard Scroll flyer, like 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with I was proud of the design, and I printed it out. I had one copy. I went to Office Max. I made exactly 69 copies of it. Very on brand. And then I went to the Renfest with like a manila folder with the 69 copies in it. And I'm like, like when you're at the Ren Fair, you like to dress up. You like to, get a costume on, maybe be a little festive. I had like a blue t-shirt and shorts on. Like I was like, I was a fish out of water there. And I was just walking around. And just like, all right, I was so nervous. Like when I had the full stack in my hand, I was so nervous. Like I didn't want to approach anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I spent this money at Office Max. I have to do this. So like what I decided to do, I just walked up to one person. Here you go. And I just walked away. Didn't explain myself at all. And I just like, all right, okay, that was easy. Let me do it again. And I was like, hey, you know what? Here, check out this flyer. It's a key item. Take this. And then
good.
I was going around Renfest just handing these things to any person I saw. There was a couple guys that were dressed up like knights.
Very good.
Like with the plate mail armor and all that. Like, oh, these guys' costumes are really cool. Oh, maybe they might like Wizard Scroll. Let me hand them a flyer. I handed them the flyer and I went about my way. Little did I know that the guys dressed up as the knights were like security for the event.
Okay. Oh. Yeah.
And one of them like grabs me by the shoulder, spins me around, is like, "You can't be handing shit out to people."
Really?
And I was like, "Oh man,
you're kidding."
I didn't know that. I don't know. It was like I'm handing flyers out to people and like kind of walking away. Like it was kind of odd behavior looking back at it. And he let me off with a warning. He's like, I don't want to see you handing these out anymore. And I was like, okay, thank you, because he was gonna take them away and shit, but like I had spent money on printing out copies and shit, so yeah, I would have been pretty upset about that. He was nice enough to let me keep my copies that I still had. I think I had like maybe like 30-40 left at that point. Okay. And he was like, all right, well, you can't hand these out in the venue. And I was like, all right, well, thank you for letting me keep them. I left, and I just at this point, like I left the entire festival at that point because like that was my whole plan, was just hand them out there. I walk out. There's like a half a mile long line of people waiting to get in. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'll just offload all of them right here. I'm walking down the line, just handing flyers like, oh, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go.
That's perfect.
And then I removed them all from my person except for the original copy. And at that point, I was like, all right, mission accomplished.
Okay. And
I got in my it took me like a good 20-30 minutes to find my car after that. I was lucky that the security didn't see me after that, but I got out of there scot-free. I was thankful that
I'm
that's
surprised. I really am. It
Yeah.
seems like a harmless enough thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like what they were doing was, like, I'm handing a flyer out. They don't know what's on the flyer. This could be like, oh, this is like I don't know, alcoholic beverages and wizard weed and all these maladaptive behaviors I could be advertising. But I mean, the guy looks at the actual flyer. He reads what I put on it. There were no swear words on it. Thankfully, I had the foresight to not put any swear words on the flyer, so it was technically family friendly, except of course for the wizard holding a bong on the front of it.
Okay.
But other than that, like, it was pretty tame by my standards, and so he did, like, if there was something bad on that flyer, that could have gone very different.
Yes, naked wenches and things like that.
Naked wenches, like, all that. So. Thankfully, yeah, so that went pretty well.
Very interesting. I was going to say, I thought you were going to say that you handed it out to two people dressed as knights, and then it would occur to you later that where would they put it? The flyer. Because if you're fully suited in armor, you probably don't have any pockets. That's really what I thought you were going to say. But otherwise, I thought that was a brilliant idea. But yeah, I could see that, bringing in things that aren't part of the program.
Right.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, you've heard some of my show. You're in it now in a future role that will be announced later. But yeah, so like it's not exactly the most family friendly thing on the planet, but it's a fun time.
Yeah.
It's not like I was handing it to kids or anything. I was handing it to the parent, at least.
That's true.
I was like, I think there was actually like a family of 4. Like, there was a kid in a stroller, and like the mom and the dad were there. And I was like, here. I think I said to them, like, don't listen to this in the car on the way home with the kids, but listen to it later.
There you go. Do you think
something
it
along
helped,
those lines
for the people? Do you know if anyone actually tuned in?
I don't know if that actually affected it. Yeah. I remember thinking to myself the day of, like, oh man, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and we'll look at my analytics. There's going to be a huge spike. It's going to be awesome. But it was basically the same. Okay. I like to imagine that there's at least a handful of people who did end up scanning the QR code and checking out at least a few episodes. And I feel like for those handful of people who met a strange blue-shirted man at the Renfest a couple years back, thank you for sticking around.
Good. Like, and I think they should listen.
The least I could have done is like got dressed up as like a wizard or something like that. Like, that would have been a little more on brand.
Sometimes you're too busy and you don't have time.
Exactly.
You're just sort of making it up as you go along. And that's part of the business. It's what makes it fun, actually, is just having an idea and having the guts to go through with it. And I've been there too, the same kind of thing, where I'm doing research for a project or something, and sometimes I feel like I'm an imposter. But I think you'll find that half of the actors out there think that they're imposters. Even if you're doing a very good job of it, you're like, geez, am I really as good as I'm being told that I am? And the answer is just don't get too much into your own head. And if it sounds like a good idea and you know that it's not endangering yourself or anyone else, go for it.
Yeah, that's good advice.
The worst that can happen is it doesn't work, but you took a chance, you made a decision to do something that other people wouldn't have done. And you'll always be wondering, I wonder if I followed through with that it might have worked.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea. I had business cards made up, and I'd left some.
I have business cards now, actually. After the flyer debacle, I was like, all right, my issue here is that the flyers are too big. I need something smaller. And so I have like 300 like business cards that I made like a couple weeks after the Renfest. I still have a bunch of them still.
Well, I hope
what your business cards look like. I'll send you a picture of my business card if I can pull that up.
Do I have a picture of mine? Oh, that's a good question. Mine has I paid someone to design a logo for me, and she came up. I described the kind of thing I had in mind. And so it's sort of a combination of something that looks like you're doing a broadcast and something that looks like you're reading a book. And so I combined both of those she combined both of those into one image. And I already had a name for the company, which is McKinley Co. I've always used that name from way back in the day. Anytime I did artwork or, some of the projects I worked on over 20 years ago that didn't have anything to do with voice work. I always used that as a temporary company name, McKinley Co. And it just had a nice ring to it. So that's
it does.
What I put. And I chose a font that looks similar to the font that's used in the movie Yellow Submarine, which was, I think, the first Beatles film I ever got to see when I was a kid. And still rather like it. Anyway, so it's a nice-looking card, I think. It's got good shades of
Here's mine.
Color, stuff like that.
I just sent you a picture of mine.
Nice. Well, that's a lot more color than I have.
Yeah, I like the purple and green, I feel like, is my...
But I wasn't smart enough to think of putting a barcode on it.
Yeah, the QR code that's more of a recent phenomenon, but it definitely helps. You know, like, if you get handed something like this, and there's like, okay, what do I do with this? There's a Spotify logo, there's a YouTube logo, now what?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it is outdated now, though, because Google Podcasts isn't a thing anymore.
And I don't see Omega Star 7 represented.
Well, it is in the QR code. I do have there's a link to Omega Star 7 in there. That's more of Skylar's thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm just like a part of it, you know.
Okay.
The Wizard Scroll's my baby, and that's where I stand with that. I do have a second podcast that this interview will be airing on called Wizard Scroll Nights.
I like that. And it's a good idea that you have a link tree. I like that.
Yeah, the link tree's cool. You get to redesign it. You get to put whatever you want in there, and it just updates in real time.
I agree. I mean, I have a website, but I don't have a full-time person working on the website as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore I don't change it very frequently. And it's much easier to update and upkeep a link tree. Plus, a link tree is so much more easy if you have an Instagram account to link to than your website is, because that way, if you're advertising for something in Instagram, like if I have an appearance on a podcast like Wizard Scroll, for instance, I will put in a post on Instagram, and then in my link tree, that will be the top link of the month. Will be the episode that I'm in any particular show that I'm advertising for.
I remember, I feel like back in 2021, I was a year deep into this, and I was even back then, I thought to myself, I could make myself a website, but who would visit it?
That's a good point.
What's the point of me upkeeping a website? A link tree is so much easier. You just go, that's your one-stop shop. You get in there, you see my Spotify, you see my Instagram. That's all you really need.
Well, if you ever plan to take it to a larger or the next step, you do need a website.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to have people who will buy products from you, a website is a great place to put it on.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a better place to have it if as a voice actor, that's where I want my demos. I can't really put that on a link tree very successfully because it would go to my SoundCloud, and a good website for an actor or a voice actor should be very streamlined.
Yeah.
So that your side projects aren't on there. Mine's getting a little cluttered, actually, with a little too many things. But otherwise, it's a good place to have it so people can get a quick look at what you do and how to contact you.
You know who has a website that I think is really funny?
Who?
Our friend Julie, who has a website that was last updated in 2013.
She has not had a webmaster in a long time.
Yeah. Which, that's my fear, is I could set up a website and think, oh, this is awesome, this is epic, and I'll get fucking 3 hits in 5 years, and then I won't want to update it.
Exactly. I remember my webmaster back in the day, or webmistress, I should say, back in the day, saying oh, you've got to have a blog on there. And I'm like,
No, I
No
don't.
one's going to read a blog. And I also said, like, I don't have time for it. Or you have to write articles. I'm like, I don't have time for that.
Right.
I'm trying to concentrate on getting good at what I'm doing as a voice actor. I
Right.
didn't intend to be a writer. And certainly I don't have the time to do that. I have too many projects willingly that I do. And I'm not saying that I regret taking too many projects. For me, it's what keeps me going,
Right.
is the fact that I don't get burned out because I always have a different project to work on.
Exactly.
Once I get tired of working on one, I switch to the other.
Yeah.
And it keeps me forever fresh, I guess. It helps prevent burnout, believe it or not.
100%. Totally can attest to
And
that.
keeping busy.
I've
Yeah.
been working on season 4 for what feels like months at this point, and I just keep getting like I'll get a burst of inspiration and be like, all right, I'm ready to go, and then that burst will fade, and I'm like, all right, now what? And then at those points where I'm just kind of stuck and I don't know what to do next, I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me do a Christmas special. Let me write that up real quick. And let me do a quick casting call for that. Who knows who will pop in and
Exactly,
throw their hat in the ring. And now we're talking right now.
And Isaac Asimov, the science fiction writer, if you're familiar with him, he used to be very famous for writing a lot. He wasn't the world's most prolific author, but if he hadn't died relatively early, he was only 72 when he died, he had almost 500 books to his name. And that's how he kept himself fresh. He would work on a project, and if he got bored or stymied by it, especially with fiction, he started famously as a science fiction writer, but most of what he wrote was nonfiction and an awful lot of science.
Mm-hmm.
So if he got bogged down in the plot of a novel he was working on or a short story, he would just switch over to write an essay for the magazine of fantasy and science fiction, because he had a regular column with them, and he loved that. They let him write on any subject he wanted to. And they're very well written, and they're very interesting even today. And I always thought that's a clever idea, because if I've noticed that when I get hung up on a subject, I will go and go and go, and as you said, you get tired of it after a little while, and then you're like, oh, what do I do? So if it's just one of a few projects, then you come back to it when you're a little more restored.
Yeah, after I wrote that Christmas special, I was like,
yeah,
I am energized. I know exactly what to do for this season 4 premiere now.
Excellent.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. And like, I kind of finished that off. We had the table read recently. Definitely needs a couple more drafts before it's ready to be published or viewed by anyone outside of the immediate circle. But I'm hopeful. I'm really liking where it's at so far. I hope you feel the same way.
I do. It's it's gonna be fun.
When you sent me your auditions, I was just so tickled. Like, this is really good. Like, he's got a really good old man voice. Wow.
Well, I try to do a good old man voice every once in a while, and just varying it up a little bit.
Yeah,
I've done an awful lot of auditions, so it gets easier with experience.
Absolutely.
To put on a character like you're putting on an outfit of some kind, and just adjusting it as needed.
What sort of other characters have you done in your time?
Well,
like, we know we got all 4 Beatles.
We got all 4 Beatles.
We got old crotchety old Dumble Snatch.
420 blazes you are doing in here.
Headmaster Dumble Snatch!
Drinking alcoholic beverages, smoking wizard weed, engaging in, maladaptive behaviors. Without me, pass me one of those motherfucking joints, Mr. Centorstein. It's high time I teach you lightweights a real wizard. Smokes that shit.
Yep.
Well, who else? Who else is in your pocket?
Well, I've got let's see. There's Charlie, and I do Civil War letters that haven't been published, and one of them is Civil War letters by a soldier named Charlie Howe, who was from New England, and he was a very young soldier. And he would, and I just love voicing his letters because I've been working on doing a good New England accent that's not quite Boston, but close. And I just wish I had a little example in front of me, but he would say, "Dear father and mother, we're out here camping today. We're outside of Fredericksburg, and I hope that the Union troops will all rally, and then we'll give old Robert E. Lee a good whipping today," that kind of thing. And I've been working on that for over a year, so it's that's very fun.
Yeah.
And I'm on a lot of episodes of Madison on the Air, and so she gets quite a variety out of me of different ones. And I'm working on Jimmy Stewart, you see. I've done a few of his roles for, I did one for Project Audion, I think it was. Just older actors, famous things. Jack Benny, for instance, is always one of my favorites. Those are old-timey things, though, and I don't want to give the impression that I just record old people or things from long ago. So this is giving me a chance to work on something new and fresh and shiny.
Yeah.
Playing an old wizard. But what is old is new again.
Exactly. That's like another notch in your belt. You're just
No, it's not like that. Not another notch in the belt. That's one of the things you do when you just, all right, I'm checking it off and I'm moving on to something else. It becomes part of your life.
Yeah.
Not just something that you've passed. It's not a scalp that you've taken. It's now something that's enriched you and that you want to continue with and enrich other people. It's very unusual for an audiobook narrator to even have met the author of the book that he narrates.
Yeah, like in person at least, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas I love it. And so my last audiobook that I've completed was a history book. And really quickly, because I know I'm taking too much time just going slowly talking about things, but it's called Bathsheba Spooner, A Revolutionary Murder Conspiracy. The author is Andrew Noon. And this is a true story of a murder that took place in the middle of the Revolutionary War.
Wow, so that's right up your alley then. Civil War plus this, plus you're just mixing all your talents.
Revolutionary War, yeah. So it's, and U.S. history, very interesting and well documented, but never heard of. Well, here's the thing that attracted me to the book, and this is the kind of thing that I like to do. This started during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So during the pandemic, I've been laid off from my job. I had a full-time job, and I was laid off before the pandemic started.
Oh, wow.
The company I worked
preemptive.
for closed the department I was working in and moved it basically down to Virginia. And so if you were working in New Jersey, sorry, I'm sure we could find other places for you in other parts of our company. But with layoffs happening across the company, that wasn't so easy. And then the pandemic hit. Anyway,
now you're really getting
during
laid
that
off.
period, I'm like, well, what am I going to do now? I don't feel like working in that field any longer where I came from. I was sort of just working there, and it was a good job, and I wasn't complaining about it. But the creative parts of it that I had been doing more or less got pulled away from me, and I wanted to get back to that, so I did this instead. And while I was looking for things to work on for voice stuff, I came across an author who was writing a book about this topic, Bathsheba Spooner and the murder up in the Revolutionary era in Massachusetts. And I'd made a comment on Facebook of like, that sounds very interesting. Please tell us when you're finished with it. I'll be more than happy to read and review a copy of it. And so a year later, I hadn't forgotten about it, but I got a Facebook message from him. He's like, well, have you reviewed it yet? I'm like, I didn't know it was out. Let me get a copy. And because it was a friendly kind of guy, I said, like, but I'll tell you what, you're an author. I used to manage a bookstore. And I know how hard it is for authors to make a profit of any kind. Really, authors are not well paid. You only hear about the well-paid ones, but there's less than 50 in the United States who really make money at it. Everybody else, if they barely make a living. Anyway, I said, how can I buy your book in a way that will make you the most money? and like get them from Amazon. And so basically I was like, okay, well, I can do that, but can I get a signed copy? How do I do that? And so I bought a copy from him directly. All the profits went to him.
That's
Very
good.
happy
That's
about
nice.
that. Got a signed copy, read it. It was fantastic. And a really good history book. And then, of course, I switched that immediately. I'm like, I'd be happy to do the audiobook for you.
Yeah, now you're already in. That's the guerrilla marketing at its finest right there.
Well, he said it's going to cost too much. I'm like, no, you're the author. You should never, ever have to pay out of pocket to have a work of yours sold. If you are, or if somebody else has approached you saying that, something's wrong with this picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's like paying somebody to be your agent. That's not how it works.
Right.
The agent gets you work and they take a profit, but you don't get charged up front for something. Anyway, we worked it out over time, and he said, okay, I auditioned for it, all voluntarily. He self-published. Now, that's a little rare. I wouldn't have offered it directly to him normally if it was a book that let's say Random House had published it, or Viking,
right.
Penguin, a really big house. They have their own stable of narrators. And I've yet to get on one of their lists, but I'm still looking for opportunities to do that. But I do like passion projects. And anyway, long story short, he agreed to let me do it, and it's a really well-written, well-researched book, and he's doing rather well with it. The subject of the book is a murder during the Revolutionary War in which the wife of her husband, who is the daughter of a loyalist, this is people allied with the British cause during the Revolution, has married an American before the war starts who is a patriot. And she conspires with two British surrendered soldiers. They surrendered at the Battle of Saratoga, which is a key turning point in the Revolutionary War. And instead of making their way to Boston and being shipped to Halifax with the other surrendered soldiers, sort of leave the ranks of the surrendered and make their way down working odd jobs and things. And an American deserter from the American forces. And it's a book of intrigue. She's actually sleeping with the person who's the American deserter, and he's only 17.
Gas.
And she's 32. And she conspires with him and the two British. And she is also sleeping with them to have her husband killed. And what happens after that? And he is murdered. And there is a trial.
Spoilers.
And all of this happens during the middle of, I'm not going to say what happens. You'll have to listen to the audiobook or read the book. As I said,
I'm already hooked. Like, you did a good elevator pitch right there, right? And like, that was, like, I'm invested
It's
now.
a good story. I would caution to say it's not written like a thriller. This guy isn't trying to just sell. He's a good historian.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like facts and things backed up by facts, all of it's in there. But you can skim if you don't like the background chapter at the beginning and just get to the bulk of the action. All the dialogue in the book is not recreated. It's all real from all of the trial transcripts.
So this is like a nonfiction piece?
Yeah, completely nonfiction. None of it is novelized.
Wow.
All of it. Up in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Wow, damn, that's incredible.
Notice I know how to say Worcester very well now.
Yeah, you learned well.
Well, he's a good teacher, the author is. He lives in New England all of his life, and I got good notes from him on how to pronounce things, all of which informs how I do my voice acting jobs. And I love doing nonfiction. Like the Beatle books, for instance, are nonfiction too. But if there's a lot of dialogue, I have a narrator voice, and then I do the voice characterizations anytime that there's dialogue.
Uh-huh.
And I just try to do a good job with that. And I love doing that. I can't tell you just how much fun it is to be able to do that. Even if it isn't a novel, you always have dialogue. And that's what brings an audiobook to life.
Right. So when you do the dialogue, do you read it like all the way through, or do you like kind of like split yourself up, do all the narration, and then do all of one character and then the next character?
It's easier to do it all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Now, If I run into tricky scenes and things, let's say for the Beetle book, for instance, there were some I had to come back to because I didn't get the voicing right, or I was having a hard time with a particular person that I was not trying to mimic, but I wanted to give a passable impression.
Because I feel like that's got to be tricky to, like, remember what voice you did when this character hasn't shown up in, like, 5 hours.
I have a voice Bible that I keep.
That's
and
smart.
It's a list of all the characters in the book. So when Jude says that I did 183 different voices for the Beetle book, the 33-hour one, that's how she got the number. Because I counted after listing every single person who had dialogue within her book.
That's wild. That many.
All of their names were, and I categorized them into ones where I could combine the voices. You know, there are a lot of different reporters asking questions. Well, they don't all have to sound this guy sounds, he's got a little bit of a slur or something. You know, no, it doesn't have to be silly. I can use generic voices for a good deal of the...
Like the background characters can all kind of sound alike. It doesn't matter.
And yeah.
But, you know, like Ringo and Paul are going to sound like two different guys.
Ringo has to sound like Ringo, and Paul, you know, he just sounds a little bit like Paul, doesn't he?
Yes, quite.
Well, that's just about all for me, folks. Just gotta find my space car. Hope I didn't run out the meteor. Take care, folks!
Funny stuff. What do you boys think?
Well, you know, Spanks, he wasn't quite my cup of speed. It wasn't British comedy, but he was alright. What do you think, Bobby?
I think he fucking sucked. You can't say that on air.
Some of them were a little bit tricky, and I had to come back to them, you see. Well, that's just the way that it works. But I was able to practice different British accents. In the history book, one of the soldiers is Scottish. Actually, two of them were. And so I learned how to do a better Scottish accent, you see. And depending on where they're from in Scotland, you don't always have to trill all the R's. And all of it helps me with the regular voice acting that I do, too. So
doing an audiobook sounds like a lot of work. And it sounds like a different beast entirely from voice acting.
I can't tell you just how many hours I spent in the booth with the 33-hour book. Because the 33 hours obviously is the end result.
Yeah.
After hours and hours of stuff that never made it.
Untold thousands of gigabytes of you just fucking up every single word.
Something like that. It's that's the other part that I do. So I have a list of characters, and I work on their voices, and I record clips so that I can come back to it at any time.
That's for, like, ear reference.
And yes. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I made this person sound like this. So I've recorded that, and I can come back to that anytime I need to. Or if it's an accent, I'll have a phrase or something that allows me to remember how to get back into it quickly.
Yeah.
So that way I'm not flailing around the edges of it.
I feel like every character needs, you gotta have like a quick phrase just to help you get into it.
That's right. And so anyway, in addition to that, I also had a list of words that I may not know how to pronounce. And the hardest for me were the French words.
Yeah, no, that's a tricky language they got. They got like letters that are silent, letters that aren't silent, like shit that you don't really expect as an English speaker.
Well, in addition to that, I've also made it more complicated for myself. You see, I'm a reader from back when, and I read a lot. When you have a reader, they don't always know how to... You're reading the words instead of hearing them first for a lot of words.
Yes.
Especially if you're reading a lot in, grammar school or junior high, that kind of thing. And so words that other people might know how to pronounce, a reader may not do very well.
Right. Run like the wind.
I have come for Bart Simpson. Bart, run like the wind! Mom, it's wind! Well, I've only read it in books.
Well, here's a better example, because I remember Arthur C. Clarke, another science fiction writer, wrote a really good book called Rendezvous with Rama. Now, this book has been optioned for movies. Morgan Freeman actually had and owned the rights at one point, and he was going to release it as a film in the year 2000 for Y2K, and I was so looking forward to it, but it went to production hell, and I don't know who owns the rights now. When I first read the book, though, I was just a kid. And I remember telling my mother how much I enjoyed reading Rendezvous with Rama. And she had to stop the car, which was in the driveway, just about ready to get onto the road because she was laughing so hard. Evidently, it isn't pronounced Rendezvous, it is rendezvous.
Yeah, I had a similar thing with Charlotte's Web. For a while, I thought it was Charlotte's Web.
There you go. That's the same kind of thing, yes.
Like, I was 5. Like, I don't know. Like, like you're a dumb kid. Like, you think, whatever.
Anyway, you never know. So a good list of words to run by the author is a great idea first.
Absolutely.
And with the Jay Bergen's book on John Lennon, the judge in the case had a complicated name, and it's pronounced Griesa, Judge Griesa, and it's spelled Griesa. Well, it could be Griesa. It could be Griesa. Anyway, I wasn't sure how to do it, and I didn't know the author directly back then. So I'm emailing the publisher, and I need to know how to pronounce this word. Please let me know. And it took a while before I got his response back from Jay. In the meantime, I'd found the New York Times article on the obituary for the judge.
Oh, you did your research. You did your digging. You found
I
it.
always research characters, and so should you. You need to insist that your actors do that. Mm-hmm. I think it helps me get ready even for fictional roles. If when I was, we were talking about Merlin, and I mentioned that he lives time backwards, of course. Mm-hmm. And it's just a little bit of background information that helps to inform your character.
Yeah.
Well, when you're doing real life people, you always have to research. Well, anyway, I found a, and if you can find a clip of what the person actually sounded like, all the better. Mm-hmm. I spent a lot of time doing that for the Beatles stuff. But anyway, the judge's name was there was a pronunciation key in the New York Times on how to pronounce the judge's name, and it was different. But I didn't know. I recorded it incorrectly, and I had to go back and fix every time the judge's name was mentioned.
Oh, man.
That was a lot.
It sounds like a meticulous time.
It was an important thing to do to get it right.
33 hours of hell right there.
Oh, no, that was the other book. Jay's book is only 8.5 hours.
Oh, okay. Only 8 hours. So, yeah, that's like good night's sleep right there.
Well, fortunately, I was able to find all the pronunciations quickly in the book and go back and figure out where they were in the recording. So I got it fixed.
Right.
You do what you need to do. And researching is one of the more fun things that I get to do whenever it's a character that I'm working on.
You suffer for your craft.
I suffer for my craft. I suffer for my music. Now it's your turn.
All right. All right. We're almost out of time here. But if you have any final words, any word of advice for any aspiring, budding, young voice actors / audiobook readers, like what would you say is your biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew when you were starting?
Well, the advice is out there. It's just whether you choose to follow it or not. Yeah. The biggest advice and the best tip was if you think you want to record an audiobook, it's easy to tell if you'll be good at it. Basically, lock yourself in a closet for 5 hours and, giving it open up for air. But make sure you're sitting there for 5 hours in a closet, a very enclosed space that you don't move from, really, and then just read out loud for those 5 hours. If you can do that, all right, maybe, and you don't go crazy, that's what it's like to record an audiobook. And it's hot. It's, you're in a booth, you're in a good place to record, and it's important to know that it's boring for the most part. You have to have your throat ready to go.
Yep, you got your 3 beverages at least.
Hydrate, as Jess McCoy always says. Stay hydrated, Scotty. And that's no joke. You have to hydrate ahead of time. Don't think you could start drinking water when you get into the booth and start reading, because you will start coughing after about 3 minutes. So that's a good tip is, it's boring to be in the booth, and you do have to research. You can't just go in and just read out loud. You have to be familiar with the book. You don't want to read it to death so that you're still fresh
Right.
and it's still of interest to you. If you're taken by surprise by something in the book and you allow it to come out in your voice, same as a voice actor with a script, don't read the script to death because you want to keep some of that fresh.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to not be so familiar with it that you can't genuinely be surprised when the script takes a turn or when another character says something that you like a lot or don't like a lot. You still want to be surprised in character because it will sound better.
All right, this was a very enlightening hour with you, Scotty. Thanks for coming on the show. It's really nice getting to talk to you. Really excited for season 4 featuring you in the show is going to be great.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I probably should have plugged the other things that I meant at the beginning.
Plug everything you need to right now. I'll toss whatever links you want to send in the description if you want as well.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I've worked on the most over the past couple of years is an audio drama, a comedy called Peculiar Radio. And it comes out through a production company named Lengthy Tangents. And currently I'm working on a script that I've written. Yes, I've actually written a script.
Nice.
For another show that's coming out soon called Theme Party. And I'll be writing a script for that. It's an anthology series. Whereas Peculiar Radio is set in a fictional world around a small radio station in a town called Peculiar Springs, so it's called Peculiar Radio. I voiced one of the ongoing characters, a very minor character, and I did some of the writing, actually, for the first season of it.
Nice.
And hopefully I'll be returning as an actor in the second season, all of which is underway right now. All the work's being done behind the scenes. And anyway, that's two of the biggest things that I'm working on now, in addition to hopefully more roles for Madison on the Air and for Hot Copy and some of the other audio dramas that I really do adore doing.
And Wizard Scroll, perhaps?
Yep. And Wizard Scroll, too, yes.
Yes, of course. I'm definitely going to have you back on after this current arc is done.
And I'll have many questions for you, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to know what your favorite audio dramas of all time are, for instance. Many more things to ask you. Although I could ask that one now if...
My favorite audio drama of all time? I feel like that's kind of a... It's going to be an obvious answer. Wizard Scroll's my favorite, of course.
Okay. How about an inspiration from before it began?
Inspiration, that's a good question. A couple podcasts were my main inspirations. The first of which was called Fantasy Fiction, which it was around, I feel like 2013 to like maybe 2015 it ran from. And it was basically just like two friends, one of whom had moved from Philadelphia to California. And to stay in touch, they started this podcast where they just every other week they would just write a fantasy story based on 2 prompts chosen by the audience. And they would just make it with the goal of making each other laugh their asses off.
Cool.
And me listening to that is what got me into fantasy as a whole. Like, I was not interested. I tried Lord of the Rings in 8th grade. I didn't like it. It was a little too dry for me. Fantasy fiction was fucking hilarious. And I was like, oh, I like wizards and orcs and shit now. This is great. The next biggest inspiration, which is probably an even bigger inspiration, was a show called Scald by a fellow named Aubrey Sitterson. For every Tuesday morning for 160 straight weeks, this guy wrote and recorded an entire episode, and he recorded the whole thing, like a half-hour long episode, in one take.
Wow.
I feel like as an audio guy yourself, you're gonna say like a half-hour episode in one take is fucking bananas.
It is. It's possible, but it's stressful.
And this guy did this for 3 years.
Jeez.
Yeah. And if he fucked up a line, he would have to start the recording over. I guess it was just like he didn't want to edit or something, or I guess that's part of the aesthetic is that he just did it in one take. And it just...
Well, that's true. No matter how long it takes to record, I will say that it takes 5 times that to edit.
Exactly. So you just cut out that middleman, just record the whole thing perfectly in one take, and you're good.
Wow.
The third podcast I would say is the for inspiration was a show called The Lusty Horde. There was an improv group of the same name that was active in California. I don't know if they're still active, but The main guy is a fella named Tim Jennings, who actually is an actor on my show now. Crazy how that works. A guy whose show I listen to is now, one, a fan of mine, and two, an actor on my show. And it was just like fully improvised. And they were like, oh, this week we're going to do, it's Bachelorette Party of the Damned. And they would just basically improv an entire scene of like them, like they're at the bachelorette party and a demon shows up, possesses one of them and shit. It was like fully, like basically that was my introduction to like a fully produced audio drama.
Interesting.
So I kind of melded all three of those ideas together, and that's where the Wizard Scroll came to be, because like all three of those shows ended, they ran their course, and it was just a void left in my heart that was like, I cannot exist in a world where I don't get to listen to these shows. I have to make something of my own that can fill that void. And that's kind of how the Wizard Scroll started. I just started writing, and all throughout 2019, I was writing every single day. I made a point that I would, at some point throughout the day, I would have to write something. If it was 20 minutes, a half hour, or maybe 10 minutes, if that. Like, there was a few times, but like, out of 366 days, because it was a leap year, I missed one singular day that entire year.
Not bad. Excellent.
And I was very proud of myself for that, and that's how my first season came to be.
Very good. And you know, that's something excellent to pass on to people listening to this.
Yeah.
If you want to get good at your craft,
you got to do it. You got to do it, or else you're not going to get any better.
You know, I mean, even if you don't have anything to write, you're practicing the craft of writing.
You get your ass in the chair, and you got to write something. The muse will only come if you allow it to, if you are in the act of creation. Because you could have, like, you could be sitting there, and you could have nothing to think, like, nothing to write. But then, like, if you make a habit of doing that every day, the ideas start to come to you in the most random of places.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there was one day, I was literally outside blowing leaves with a leaf blower. And I was like, oh my God, I had a whole revelation of where the next plot point was going to be for like episode 14 or some shit. And I was like, all right, now I got to take my phone out. I got to take the gloves off, get my phone out, type this in real quick, and then continue working.
Excellent.
And then, yeah. And then it just so happened that right as I was finished with that 16th episode, the whole season was done. A few weeks later, the fucking world shut down. COVID hit.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, well, now I got all this free time. I got a blue snowball ice. I'm ready to go. Nobody in the world is doing something like this. Little did I know, audio dramas have been around for a very long time, and I'm not the first, and I'm not the last. And I wasn't, like, even at the time, I wasn't even that good. But you gotta be bad at something for a long time before you can ever hope to be good at it.
Yeah.
And look at me now.
It's,
I got an XLR, I got the Reaper, I got all the chops, I got the business card, I got motherfucking Scott R. McKinley on the horn right now. I feel like I'm really made a name for myself here.
You need a mug. Do you have a mug yet? You need a mug.
I do have a mug, actually.
Oh, I know you've got T-shirts for Omega Star 7. Do you have a T-shirt yet for Wizard Scroll?
Yeah, I do. Omega Star 7, like, that's...
Oh, that's right. That's
Skylar's baby. That's not my show. That's... I mean, I'm part of it. That's Skylar's thing. He does his own thing. But I do have a merch shop if you're interested in buying stuff from me.
I do. And I will.
Yeah, the mug is actually really cool. I gotta send you a picture of it. It's double-sided. So if you're left-handed, you see a different picture
I am a lefty.
than the righties.
I am a lefty.
Oh shit! So you get to see the special green variant of the artwork.
I need this.
All right, the wizardscrollshop.fourthwall.com. Get there, buy merch, purchase product today.
I will be putting out a T-shirt of my own that says "Got Mick" on it instead of "Got Milk." MCK.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna send you a picture of the mug. I really like how it came out.
Oh, nice.
Like, the picture's kind of, yeah. And then the other side for the lefties.
That's the cover art for the podcast, and I've always thought that was beautiful.
The other side's green.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, my friend Nick is a incredible artist, and he did the artwork for, this artwork, as well as my other artwork that you see on the actual business card, that wizard holding the bong was him as well. That was his like original idea for the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's done my episode artwork throughout the years. He made one that I've never actually used yet. And I've been sitting on this thing for years. And I fucking love how it came out. That's the thing. I gotta show you this.
Sounds good.
I've been sitting on this since 2022.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, that one's gonna be, like, that's gonna be, I have no idea when that's gonna come out, but you're looking at it right now, you can tell. Anyway.
Okay.
Enough shilling. Shilling aside. Yeah, this is a lot of fun, Scotty. Always a pleasure. It was a pleasure having you on.
And if we do get to talk again, have you ever talked to somebody who's a first-gen Dungeons and Dragons player?
First gen.
Meaning back in the 70s.
That is, no, that's a, you know what? Audience?
I'll be happy to talk to you about that.
You're going to have to tune in next time to hear about that.
That's fine. But,
Yeah.
I do like fantasy, just so you know, as I've been talking about history and stuff like that, but this is also one of the subjects that I really do groove.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it was a pleasure, Scotty. Always really nice talking to you. Definitely going to have you back on for that D&D chat, among other things, because I feel like we could talk for hours. Like, we could sit in a booth for 5 hours together and just never run out of things to talk about.
Well, I would agree with that. Thank you, Chris. Very much so.
You're very welcome, sir. Thank you for coming on. And thank you, listeners, for enjoying the show. Goodbye.
Yep, thank you.